There's no doubting that there can be a lot of polarization based on whether our destinies are set out for us or whether we have a lot of say in where we go with our lives. In human design, the fates are completely different. They talk about the way our lives are altered by the unexpected and how the best laid plans can always go awry. And when our plans do go south, like they oftentimes do, the gate 30 in human design and the lines of fate can give us an idea of how best to push through those blockages and keep going towards our dreams and goals. Hi, this is Denise Matthew, and today we're going to talk about the lines of fate and the fates of the gate 30. It oftentimes happens that when we decide to go somewhere we've never gone before, we lay out the plans as best we can, but usually there's something in the way that will stop us from progressing. And when that happens, we all have our own way of how we deal with those complications or those blockages. But when we get the information about the fates and learn the best strategy for us to push through to the other side, then it just makes it easier to be able to deal with those things that just jump out of nowhere and force us to change our trajectory. Some people will just stop in their tracks and just not go any further, while others will keep on pushing no matter what. But what's right for you as an individual when something that you completely didn't expect shows up in your reality? Before we get into the fates and how they work with your specific profile, we need to talk about a few things just so that we're all on the same page and you understand the concept of what exactly a role gate is. There are 6 role gates that talk about your archetype based on your personality profile line, or what we might consider the metaphorical masks we wear when we are in different settings. And it's all based on the profile. So for instance, if you are a 4-1, your personality numbers would be 4. So you would follow the 4th line of all the particular role gates. So for the role gates, which there are 6 of, you would always look at the 4th line for the theme that would be consistent with how the archetype of your profile would work. So what we're saying is that role gates in human design are specific gates that form the framework for all profiles. They're key words for the lines of those specific gates, and they talk about ways of being for anyone whose personality sun falls in that specific line. So for instance, the role gates talk about how we care for another, how we bond with other people, how we lead, and also how we are in tribal situations, collective situations, as well as when we're alone. So they have a lot of information that just talks about all kinds of different settings and what your go-to theme might be when you have a particular profile. Just for your reference, there are 2 collective gates, the gate 7 and the gate 13, 2 individual gates, the gate 1 and also the gate 10, and also 2 tribal gates, the gate 27 and also the gate 59. The role gates are a rich and interesting topic and really give a nice dimension to the profiles, but it's too much information to go into today. But I will go through all the role gates as we go around the mandala, and I always add extra information about the lines in the community tab. But for now, I wanted to introduce the concept so I could explain how the lines of the gate 30 operate in a way that matches the personality profile, just like the role gates do. And it doesn't really matter if you have the gate defined in your body graph, and that doesn't matter for the role gates either. It all goes back to the theme and the archetype of the profile. So if we get back to the gate 30, we're talking about somebody who has a personality sun in the 5th line. So the 5th line of the gate 30 theme would be the way you would deal with things that show up in your reality that are unexpected. And that would be for anybody who has a profile 5-1 or 5-2. And like I said, it doesn't matter if you have the gate 30 defined in your chart or not. These are themes, so everybody is affected by how it works for your particular profile line. Now, if you in fact have the gate 30 defined in a particular line, sometimes that will mean that you'll have a little bit of the themes of the different lines. So for instance, if you have the gate 30 in the line 1 and you're a profile 5-1, you might want to look at the themes for both the line 1 and also the line 5. And there's even potential for you to mix the themes a little bit and mingle them so that it's something that's specific to only you, because everybody is exactly who they are, an individual. And ultimately, if it works for you, then it's just right. So let's get into the themes of the lines. When you have a first line personality sun, then you're going to be a profile 1-3 or a profile 1-4. And in this case, when the fates step in your path, it's all about composure, because there's a need to build a foundation. And if you get swept away in the chaos, you won't be able to do that. Wherever we have a first line, it's always about finding something solid so that we can have some sense of security. So as somebody who carries a first line profile, your reaction to the fates getting in your way is all about finding balance in the disorder, or maintaining your composure and calm even if chaos is around you or blockages come in your path. Since the profile lines speak a lot to how we deal with these unexpected events, if you have difficulty maintaining your composure in disorder, it may mean that you potentially are not aligned with who you really are or the power that you contain within you to actually stay in balance despite what's happening around you. As with all profiles, the more we stay in line with our strategy and authority and use it in our everyday lives, the closer we get to being the best version of ourselves so that we can deal with what life gives us. And in this case, it's all about keeping your composure no matter what's happening around you. And if that's the case, you are fully aligned with who you are and what you can give to the world. You truly do have the power within you, and remembering that when life gets in your way can potentially give you the strength to know that you have the power to surmount whatever life throws in your path. If you're a second line profile or you have the profile 2-4 and 2-5, it's all about acceptance of uncertainty and also pragmatism. When the fates get in your way, it can be deeply impactful, as it can with most people. Yet when it comes to the second line energy, there can be an inability to express your feelings and emotions, and because of this, it can lead to an imbalance in your emotions. The pragmatism is all about saving your energy for when you need to act on your dreams and inspirations, or maybe when you want to move forward. But because there's so much need to act and release the feelings only in the doing instead of just allowing the feelings to happen, there can be a lag between when you need an outlet for your feelings and emotions and when in fact the universe provides an opportunity for you to express your emotions. Because our dreams and fantasies materialize and ask something from us when the timing is right. So there can be a lot of waiting in between, and of course a lot of uncertainty as to how things are going to unfold. The key is to accept that things happen when they're meant to, and to know that life is uncertain. An expressing of how you feel can happen anytime you want and doesn't have to be tied to things happening in your life. And the most important thing to remember is that even if you can't see it, the universe is always dynamic. And that opportunity to go to the next step of your life will come just at the right time, usually when you least expect it. When we get to the third line profiles, the 3-5 profile and also the 3-6, this line is called resignation. And it's also a deeply spiritual line because ultimately it's all about accepting what is. Ra Uru said that there is no mind more resilient to be able to handle what the fates deal them than somebody who carries a third line profile. But it only comes with the true acceptance of what is, and it's a key to awakening your mind. Because experimentation always comes with the energy of the line 3. It's always important to remember that the fates don't have it out for you. If something doesn't work, then it's all about acknowledging that and recognizing life exactly as it is, not how you want it to be. And when you see your life for exactly what it is in that present moment, you can also recognize the valuable lessons that you're being taught, lessons that you can carry forward into your future and help both yourself and others on your journey. And seeing the importance, the spirituality, and the deep impact of this line, it definitely makes sense that Eckhart Tolle, somebody who talks about the deep spirituality of being in the present moment, has a gate 30 in line 3 as well as being a third line profile. So it's a super strong theme about his acceptance and the acceptance of the third line energy in the concept of being in this present moment, seeing what truly is, and moving on to the next moment in your life. When we get to the fourth line profiles, we're talking about the 4-1 and also the 4-6 profiles. And it's where we get to the transpersonal part of the energy. And the theme is burnout. The word burnout may seem very negative in its connotation, but that's not truly what it is, because there's always potential for this burnout to be maneuvered around or to not have it happen to you at all. The important thing about this profile line, it's all about the other and the concept that your life is dependent upon who you know. And for that reason, it's important to be with the right people who will bring out the best in you. Since your fourth line energy is all about being here to network and to know who to invest your energy in, when you invest your energy into the wrong people, then you become drained. And that is when the potential for burnout can actually happen. So the biggest lesson of the fates for you is to recognize who to invest in and who to let go. And the sooner you truly see who's best for you and who isn't, the smoother your life will get. But the truth is, letting go of people might be the most difficult thing for you to do. But it's also the most valuable for you to do because it'll prevent that burnout and also from connecting with the wrong people who will drain you. The key here is to build the healthiest network that you can so that you can have the best trajectory for your life. So when the fates walk into your path, you'll have the strength and endurance to push through to the other side. When we move on to the fifth line profiles, the 5-1 and the 5-2, it's all about irony. The 5-1 was in fact Ra Uru-Hu's profile. And his concept, when the fate stepped into his path, was all about 2 steps forward and 1 step back is still 1 step forward. As with all fifth line energy, there's always some level of projection here, or people projecting their concepts and ideas of who you are, even if it is or is not the truth of who you are. And because of this level of projection and expectation that people have, there's potential for you to have some level of suspicion about what people really want from you. This projection can be positive, and you can provide practical information and also be able to deliver what people perceive you can deliver. And yet, even if you are in the correct projection field, there can be a need to accept that things can be transitory and that change is inevitable. And eventually, when something is no longer possible, there's a need to let go and see that when a door shuts, you can let it happen. And rest assured that as soon as one door closes, a new one opens. When we get to the sixth line profiles, we're talking about the profiles 6-2 and also 6-3. And this is all about enforcement. The sixth line profile is the most powerfully mutative and transformative energy, where Ra Uru-Hu said, you go from being a sheep to being a wolf. And since we know that a sixth line has a 3-stage process, we know that in the beginning, there's always a third line energy, which means we're accepting what is when we're talking about the fates. And only after their Chiron return has happened, do you become the role model, and then you step into the energy of the sixth line, also called enforcement. When you become a role model, there's potential to need to be your own authority, and there could be a sense that you don't want anyone to have authority over you. As a pure role model, you are an example of yourself, which means that you're not here to prove anything to anyone. You're only here to be you. But the key here is right action, which speaks to the process of following the rules of your strategy and authority, and that being essential for you to be the true role model that you are meant to be. And though the strategy and authority is important to all profile types, it's even more imperative for somebody who's a sixth line profile to truly adopt strategy and authority as a way of life. When it comes to the fates, you are here for yourself. Yet when you are here for yourself, others will show up. And when they do, you can potentially point them in the right direction for their life. This enormous need to be absolutely correct, as far as human design goes, means that it's imperative to give your body its authority and allow it to lead you to your destiny. Well, that's all for now. and I'll be back soon with some new content. Until then, take care, and I'll see you soon.